What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cheeseheadz Weekly. It's good to be with you here on a Thursday, a little later in the week, and we did skip last week, so sort of have two games to talk about. I'm not going to get into those too much as just looking ahead to the wild card round. Packers set to play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia on Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. That would be 3:30 Central Time. And it is going to be a good one, for sure. A lot of people, of course, have the Eagles winning. Packers lost to the Eagles in Week 1. And so looking for a little bit of redemption here, and really their first big win against a really good team this season. And we'll see if they can get that here this weekend. So we're going to go over last week just a little bit. Very disappointing loss for the Packers, 24-22 to the Chicago Bears. The Bears break their streak, and of course, fans have been going crazy ever since then. I don't really care. Of course, there's the back and forth. I get really tired of Bears fans, so I try not to interact with them too much. But regardless, the Bears did come out victorious, snapped their losing streak ever since that Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels against them whenever it was, a long time ago. They had lost every game since then after a decent start to the season. And finally, the Packers gave them a win. So the big news, really the biggest news, is Christian Watson is done for the year and probably some of next year at least. This is just really, I'm having trouble thinking of the correct words to say, but just really unfortunate for Christian Watson. I mean, he's dealt with so many injuries and was getting through this season decently well. Not dealing with any injuries, no more hamstring problems. And by the way, him and Stokes, neither of them had any hamstring issues this whole season, which is great. And now we've also had news that Marshawn Lloyd's season is over with a hamstring. He is headed to the same facility that Watson and Stokes were at last offseason to fix their hamstrings. Hopefully it works for Lloyd, because he had a rough season, not able to get on the field. I believe the last time he saw the field was maybe week 2 or 3, and he has been out ever since. Just a string of bad luck, and that seems to continue for Christian Watson. Tore his ACL, could be additional damage per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. Just a catastrophic injury, non-contact. By the way, shout out to Jalen Johnson for being a professional, unlike Bears fans. If Bears fans were on the field there, I can only imagine what they'd be doing. But shout out to Jalen Johnson, just being a real professional NFL player, doing his job and going above and beyond to, he clearly felt bad about Watson getting injured. And so I really commend him for that. But Christian Watson, the reality is he is done for this year for the playoff run. And that is a big loss for the offense. And I mean, we'll probably see that versus the Eagles. But I mean, we've had so many Packers fans, okay? This is not Bears fans, this is not anyone else. So many Packers fans just completely talking trash to Christian Watson for no reason, because he gets injured, which, once again, not his problem. I'm pretty sure if he could have, he would have chosen to not get injured there. So I don't think you could say that's his fault. Christian Watson never's on the field, always injured. And then when he's on the field, he's not even that great anyway, He's supposed to be the superstar guy. I mean, not really. Just because they drafted him in the second round doesn't mean he's going to be the next Devontae Adams. You're just spoiled. That's really what it comes down to. And the fact is, I forget what the number was. I think I saw that the Packers score 4 point something points less without Christian Watson on the field, and I totally believe that. Their offense is a lot different, and I've seen their passing attack significantly decrease in effectiveness without Christian Watson on the field. So I'm just going to go ahead and put you on blast if you're one of those Packers fans that has been talking trash about Christian Watson, because that's not warranted at all, and it never was before the injury. It isn't now. And so, yeah, the Packers can do without him. I don't think so. I mean, sure, they're going to have to, but that's not. I think they would rather have Christian Watson, okay? I think you'd rather have 4.3 speed, great hands, and just a big-bodied receiver, plus a guy that can, run routes too and get open. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, and you don't know what you're talking about if you're one of the Watson haters, especially if you're a Packers fan. That's just, if you're a Bears fan, I understand it, because you're just going to talk trash about the Packers no matter who they are, about Jordan Love, But that's just not even acceptable if you're a Packers fan and you're going to talk down about Christian Watson, who's a huge part of this team. And, we've seen Packers wide receivers, Bo Melton, others since then, really come out and just, you can tell how much they miss Christian Watson in this game. They are like, they want to win this so bad for Christian Watson, because, they really feel for him not being able to play anymore. And so this is huge news and deserves the, 5 minutes or whatever more that I gave it here to talk about Christian Watson, because he is that important to this team. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that. The other news coming out of this game is maybe not quite as significant, but Jordan Love also went down with an injury, did not return. It was in the first half, I believe, sometime. It was right before or after the Watson injury. They both occurred really quick, and of course Packers fans were, collectively holding their breath after that. Watson looked pretty serious as it happened, as most non-contact injuries do. Jordan Love didn't seem really serious, and it wasn't. He was a full participant in practice today. As of Thursday, Matt LaFleur mentioned that in his press conference. It was limited on Wednesday. It is an elbow injury, and basically his hand just went numb. Basically, all he's dealing with is possibly a little bit of soreness. I'm not sure he's dealing with anything. I think Jordan Love, you should watch some of that press conference if it's available, or there are clips on Twitter of him. They're clearly trying to, a little bit of gamesmanship back and forth. Hurts is over there saying, yeah, they're still working through his injury as well, whatever. I'm pretty sure both of them are going to play and be very close, if not 100%. On game day. But regardless, the coaches want, to make the other coach, even though I'm sure it's not actually really doing a whole lot, just make the other guy think that, hey, my quarterback might not be 100%. You never know. You might see Malik Willis, and that might just throw a wrench in your game plan. So, yeah, basically it's just gamesmanship. Jordan Love's going to be out there, and he should be very close to full strength, I would anticipate. So that's not huge, I wouldn't say, as far as news goes. Coming out of that game, I guess we'll get into my players of that game. Again, this game was meaningless, by the way. For all those Bears fans, I'm sure that doesn't make any difference to you, but I'm just saying the game was meaningless for us as Packers fans. Didn't really mean a whole lot. So, again, it's disappointing to lose to the Bears, 1, 2, just to lose to a bad team in general when you're supposed to be a really good team, and just 3, to end up with those injuries, with the Watson injury specifically, and just to finish the season on such a disappointing and unfortunate note. But Packers, got to get back at it and go win a game in Philly. So Again, this doesn't mean a whole lot to me. This does not define how good they are as a football team. I expect them to be better. Again, it was a meaningless game. They might not have been playing quite as hard or whatever as they had to because they really didn't need to. It was not a game they needed to win, and so they're focused on trying not to get injured. Of course, they have the big injury in a game where it doesn't matter. That seems to be how things work in the NFL. But regardless, Packers, still a good team. I still believe that, and I believe that the Eagles game I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I really don't. And I could be wrong. I could be eating a lot of words here, but I choose to be optimistic for one. And I think the Packers are gonna be just fine. So sure, disappointing end of the season. Not what you want as a Packers fan. But there's certainly some good things to take away, and I'm going to give you my players of the game, starting with the offense. Number one, I got 5 players for the first player of the game here, and that is the whole offensive line, which 4 of the starting offensive linemen were ranked in the top 5 offensive performances by PFF and PFF grades coming out of that game. Josh Myers was the lone one not in there, but Rasheed Walker, Sean Ryan, Elton Jenkins, and Zach Tom, who, by the way, Zach Tom was named a first-team All-Pro by Pro Football Focus as a right tackle. So congrats to Zach Tom, and he has had very quietly, a fantastic year. Of course, offensive linemen don't get talked about a lot. Zach Tom don't get talked about a lot. I mean, Packers offensive linemen don't get talked about a lot, but they consistently have great offensive lines every single year, even starting guys like Rasheed Walker, 7th-round picks, stuff like that. And congrats to Sean Ryan, on a really good season as well. His season didn't start out well. Had the suspension early, but, he's become a really solid player there at right guard. So anyway, offensive line was great in the run game, pass game. Really, Malik Willis took 3 sacks. Jordan Love didn't take a sack. Malik Willis did take 3 sacks. None of them were credited to the offensive line. So that must have been just Malik Willis running into guys, which, you'll see that every now and then. I know one of the sacks was a strip sack where a guy was completely unblocked and probably should have been picked up by a running back or tight end or something, and Willis just completely did not see him and got smacked. That was not fun to watch, not going to lie. But regardless, the offensive line, great performance. And number 2 on the list is Emmanuel Wilson, the backup or third string. I mean, him and Chris Brooks have kind of been back and forth on the depth chart all season long. I would slot in Wilson as the backup now. I think he kind of regained that job after it looked like Brooks was the backup for a little bit there. 14 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown, a reception for -2 yards. That didn't need to be said probably, but the average, 5.2 yards a carry. Emmanuel Wilson has been fantastic. Chris Brooks, shout out to him as well. 8 for 59, 7.4 a carry, and Josh Jacobs 6 for 44, 7.3 a carry, 6 for 44 for him. He scored a touchdown as well. Didn't get a ton of run because, again, meaningless game. Why put him out there and give him a bunch of wear and tear? So he should be fresh. Saquon Barkley rested the final game of the year. He should be fresh. This is going to be a battle of the run games here in Philadelphia. Number 3 on the list, Malik Willis. Not Malik Willis, the other Malik. Malik Heath, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Had Malik Willis throwing him the ball, though, and he made some terrific grabs, or at least one, where he kind of mossed a guy, or at the very least made a terrific leaping grab. 3 receptions, 53 yards. Very nice performance for Malik Heath. Could see some more of him and Bo Melton with Watson going down. And Romeo Doubs did not play in that game with an illness. He'll be fine for next week. But didn't play in the game, and so we saw Heath out there. And I tell you what, every time that guy's on the field, something happens. I mean, he is fun to watch. So I mean, we might see more of him, and we might see some big plays out of him too. So keep an eye out. You can't miss him, Malik Heath. He'll be moving around for sure. He plays with a lot of energy, which is just so much fun to watch. As far as the defense players of the game, how about Carrington Valentine? I believe second straight week with a turnover. Forced a fumble in this one, 4 tackles as well. Another solid performance. He's had a solid season at corner, especially with Jair not being able to play and now likely out for the season unless they can get to the Super Bowl. He could possibly be back. So Valentine, full-time starter for sure, and he has been probably the best corner the Packers have had this year. So shout out to him. We're going to need him to step up big time against, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown, something to keep an eye on, did not practice today. Left early in yesterday's practice, I believe, and did not practice today, so something to keep an eye on as well. But Valentine, certainly key to stopping the Eagles' passing attack. Rashawn Gary, also on this one, had a sack. Very nice play. He's been putting the pressure on the quarterback. Unfortunately, only sack of the day for the Packers defense. We could definitely see some more of that. We need to put some pressure on the quarterback, and that's something that has been lacking in some of these big games, I would say, like against Sam Darnold and Jared Goff specifically. Can be mistake-prone quarterbacks, but you got to put pressure on them, and they have not been able to do that, specifically against some of those good offensive lines. So Eagles have a good offensive line. We're going to need to see a big performance from this Packers pass rush on defense. And then number 3, Xavier McKinney. Ho-hum. We see him here quite often. 4 tackles. An interception first since week 12. QBs have just not been throwing it his way, but they did in this one. Actually, it wasn't a quarterback. It was Keenan Allen, and just wanted to make something happen. Something happened all right for the Packers. Xavier McKinney gets another interception. So that will do it. That's my players of the game. Went through that kind of quick, but again, meaningless game. I don't really care too much. It's good to see players playing well, though. By the way, Edgerrin Cooper, shout out to him. He has been terrific. Named NFC Rookie of the Month for the month of December / February. February. What am I even talking about? January, I believe, is the month that we're in currently. Yeah, that makes more sense. So, yeah, shout out to Edgerrin Cooper, Defensive Rookie of the Month. And he has been outstanding as a rookie, and we're Packers fans hoping he is playing pretty much, 100% of the snaps on game day versus Philly, because they're going to need him out there. Stop Saquon Barkley and company. And then, of course, Quay Walker is back at practice, was back on Wednesday, I believe was back on Thursday as well. If we can just, I'm not sure if they released anything. I don't know what the exact injury report is for Thursday. Didn't write it down. I listened to the press conference here today, just a little bit ago before I hit record. But we'll have to see. I'll just look at the Wednesday report. Quay Walker and Evan Williams were both limited on Wednesday. Jordan Love and Malik Willis were both limited as well. Willis has a right thumb injury and was limited on Wednesday. I assume he was full on Thursday. Jordan Love was full on Thursday. Williams and Walker have missed the last 3 games, so it is great to have them back. Of course, they're a big part of the plan defensively. Evan Williams has been great. Was a starter next to McKinney. Zane Anderson, of note, has been done quite a nice job in his place there. And Javon Bullard returned from injury. He's helped out there as well. So should have Javon Bullard back. Hopefully Evan Williams and Quay Walker both back. Walker was playing very well. Some of the best football of his career up until he got injured. Hopefully he can get back to playing great football again. TJ Slayton did not practice due to a new ankle injury on Wednesday. LaFleur said it's possible he could still play Sunday without any practice. But, of course, very key to the run defense. But I did hear from Matt LaFleur that Slayton did practice in a limited fashion. And Matt LaFleur also mentioned that it would be huge to get him out there. Because, of course, you got to stop Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley in that Philly run game. And having a big guy like Slayton, they really don't have any other guy like him on the team. Matt LaFleur mentioned that as well. A guy with his size and ability on the team. So it would be great to have him out there and hopefully close to full strength for Sunday. Defensive end Brenton Cox with a foot injury returned to practice, as did Andre Dillard, swing tackle for the Pack, and just a good depth piece to have around on the offensive line. And of course, Romeo Doubs returned to practice as well. Doubs was a full participant coming off the illness, so he will be full go on Sunday in all likelihood. Zane Anderson is out while in the concussion protocol, so it will definitely be nice to have Evan Williams back, and he is trending in that direction. Linebacker Edgerrin Cooper was limited with a knee injury and an illness. My guess is he'll be just fine for game day. Won't probably get a designation. As far as the Eagles on Wednesday, 5 were full participants of the 10 that they listed on the injury report. Only 1 didn't practice. That was guard Trevor Keevian with an illness. A.J. Brown was limited with a knee injury. He was also listed with a rest designation. So the Eagles are mostly healthy, but again, A.J. Brown did not practice on Thursday, which is certainly something to monitor there. So there is our injury report as much as I know as of now. And so let's just get into my 3 keys to the game for the Packers versus the Eagles. This is going to be huge, and the number 1 key to the game is also going to be huge because there's a great running back here. Saquon Barkley recently just joined the 2,000-yard club. If he would have played in Week 18, may have had a chance to beat the single-season rushing yard record held by Eric Dickerson. Was 105 yards away from that, I believe, something like that. But he did crack 2,000 yards in 16 games this season. So very, very impressive season for Saquon Barkley. Shout out to him. Running behind a great Philly O-line, finally out of the not great organization over there that is the New York Giants. I'm sure he's happy to be out of there and playing on a contending team and a big part of that team. Big part of the Eagles' success. And so if the Packers can stop Saquon and do this next thing, the second key to the game, put pressure on Hurts, they could have a good chance of winning this game. Obviously, number 1 priority, you're going to have to stop the Eagles' offense or you're not going to keep up. That's just the fact of the matter. The Packers' offense has not been as good as the Eagles' offense this season. As good as Josh Jacobs has been, not quite as good as Saquon Barkley and of course, Green Bay's passing attack especially has been inconsistent at best, I would say. But I would say you could really put some pressure on Jalen Hurts. You might have a chance to win. Defensively, of course, Packers have struggled at times to put pressure on the quarterback this year, and the Eagles do, again, have a good offensive line. But if they can do that, Hurts can tend to make some mistakes. Again, he has a good offensive line. He has not made a ton of mistakes this year. Did throw 2 picks in Week 1 against Green Bay in Brazil. But I'm not sure if it's, a product of not having pressure, not being under pressure, or if he's just been that good this year. Haven't watched a lot of him, so I'm not going to say too much on that. But most quarterbacks tend to make mistakes when they are constantly under pressure. So if you can put pressure on him, I feel like that would be a good formula to win this game. And it generally is. If you got to put pressure on the quarterback. That is key in every game. especially against good teams like the Eagles. And, of course, play a clean game. Eliminate the mistakes. We've seen some penalties. We've seen some interceptions at times from Jordan Love, some bad decision-making, whatever it is. Regardless, Jordan Love has been playing more clean. I would like to see him get a little more aggressive now. But, of course, you don't want him to get too aggressive because then you might, start making mistakes again. So it's a fine line. Again, margins are thin. We've heard that plenty of times from Matt LaFleur. But Packers got to clean things up, play a clean game. Xavier McKinney has been talking about it nonstop. All he wants to talk about is the Packers and how the Packers are going to be better. And so how about we just go out there and be better? And so gotta eliminate the penalties, the mistakes, just the really dumb errors that you don't need to make, and go out there and win a game against a good football team and play good winning football like we have seen. We have seen it at times this year, but got to see it more consistently. And, of course, you're going to have to see it for all 60 minutes in this one because it's going to be a difficult matchup. So, yes, both Malik Willis and Jordan Love were full participants per Matt LaFleur. So, good to know. And I'm just checking X here real quick. I don't see a whole lot. It looks like Bullard, Cooper, Brenton Cox, Andre Dillard, Quay Walker, Evan Williams, TJ Slayton were limited. So Cooper's still limited. Anderson and Watson, of course, did not practice. So Anderson probably not going to play with the concussion. But Packers are getting pretty healthy outside of Christian Watson. Of course, they're decently healthy coming into this game. So good to hear. One quick takeaway, just randomly. If you're ever in the Packers press room, whatever, if you're ever a reporter for the Green Bay Packers and you're asking a LaFleur question, don't ask him injury questions that are stupid because he will definitely make the question seem very stupid. So he doesn't like to talk about injuries. They asked him about Jordan Love, as they have done plenty of times. So how's Jordan Love looking? Looking pretty good. And the answer was, oh, yeah, he's looking like a full participant in practice. Yeah, looking pretty good, I would say, yeah. So you're not going to get a whole lot out of him. He's a head coach of a football team, and that is what you're gonna get a lot of coach speak like that. So just don't ask dumb questions. Not that I know anything about being a reporter, but I'm just saying. Packers safety, Xavier McKinney, surprise, surprise, named the first team All-Pro by the NFLPA. Congrats, Mr. McKinney. What a season from the man, and he has developed into quite a leader for the Packers already. I'll tell you what, them Giants really could be a better team if they'd have McKinney and Barkley. Just saying. So I guess that'll about do it for this episode. We are approaching the 30-minute mark, which is, just fine. Again, big game versus the Eagles. Packers have been very inconsistent to end the season specifically, and it's not been great. It's not been fun, but hey, it's a new season, and that is something that's been emphasized. New season, Watson not around, guys are going to have to step up, and you're going to have to just start things fresh and go win this game in Philly. Thanks for listening, everybody. Do want to mention my episode 100 is coming right up. This is episode 97. So 2 more before episode 100. If you have any suggestions for what I should do on my 100th episode, some great ideas to make the episode more fun, to kind of celebrate 100 episodes, I would greatly appreciate it. You can leave those in the comments, whether you're watching on YouTube Or if you're on Spotify, you can comment as well. I did have those turned off on accident, and I was able to turn those back on. So if you're listening on Spotify, be sure to drop a comment, whatever. Drop a rating while you're at it too. That would be nice. But just any ideas you have of guests to have on the show, or any other fun ideas for me, that would be fantastic. I don't have anything lined up at this point, so any of your helpful input would be very much appreciated. Thanks for listening, everybody. Good to be with you here again after missing a week, and I will be watching closely on Sunday, as will most of Packers, if not all of Packers Nation. Appreciate all your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Go Pack, go.